want you to take my course. Hello, my name is Ned Mohan. Very briefly about me, I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering, where I started teaching 42 years ago, perhaps long before you were born. I have graduated 46 PhDs, and I'm one of the handful of members of the National Academy of Engineering at the University of Minnesota. Coming from India as I do, I have seen firsthand that the poorest of the poor are at the front line of the climate crisis. There's nothing that I'm more passionate about than teaching this course on climate crisis implementing solutions. The scientists have been warning for decades that human actions are pushing life on our shared planet towards mass extinction. If you believe in science, there is no room for debate. Fortunately, there is still time to stop it. There is hope. This course will convince you that our climate is changing dramatically, and it's changing because of us, our human activities. However, the most of the course will focus on solutions. We have them. We just need to implement them. This course will help you in making your career decisions, whether to study engineering, for example, electrical engineering that provides many of the solutions, or some other field of STEM. On the other hand, it may be economics, public policy, sustainability-oriented entrepreneurship, or whatever. This action-oriented call to action and hard-hitting course will teach you the underlying physics. You will calculate how we can reduce our carbon footprint, the economic feasibility of solutions that we have, and how we can implement them. In this course, we will look at these solutions in a holistic manner. The intent is not to leave out anything. We will, of course, talk about using renewables such as wind and solar for generating electricity, the lowest hanging fruit, but also consuming electricity wisely. We will discuss the impact of our air travel, our meat-based diet, uncontrolled population growth, etc. The intent is that nothing is left out. This 3-credit course, 1701, has the liberal education theme of technology and society. There is an associated 1-credit laboratory course, 1703, and together they satisfy the physical sciences core. This course will be highly valuable in your graduation plans, since in order to graduate, you must take at least one course with the physical sciences core. This course will be totally transparent, and you will know your course grade at any time during the semester based on your performance up to that point. This course will make you an informed citizen in selecting our leaders. It will encourage critical thinking and decision making on socio-economic impacts of energy and electricity. Remember that poorest of the poor are at the front line. Without apportioning blame, all of us will be judged by history if we understood the urgency and did not have the moral fortitude to act based on opportunities made available to us by technologies that are already at hand. Bottom line, it is our moral and ethical responsibility. I urge you to take this course, in which you will learn a lot, but working hard is not an alternative. Goodbye, and see you in class.
Scientists are in a very odd position. This is a quote from Sherwood Rowland, who won the Nobel Prize for understanding the chemistry of ozone depletion. And he said, "What's the use of having developed a science well enough to make predictions if, in the end, all we're willing to do is stand around and wait for them to come true?" And it captures the fundamental dilemma that we have, the scientists who are looking at this problem. For instance, last year, at the beginning of the year, I predicted that 2016 would in fact be the warmest year on record, as it turned out. Part of my brain, my scientist brain, at the end of the year when I was found to have been correct, says, yes, look how clever we are. We manage to pull information out of the real world, apply our theory, make a prediction, and have that prediction come true. Gosh, how clever are we? But then the other part of my brain, the citizen part of my brain, the normal human part of my brain, says, no, I don't want this to be true. I don't want the world to be warming at an accelerating rate. And we're stuck in this position where we're making predictions. And for 30 years, those predictions have proved correct in the large scale of things. And yet not one single person who is making these predictions want these things to be true. They will not be true if governments, societies, individuals, engineers find ways to reduce emissions that allow society to continue. That is a huge burden, unfortunately, to be putting on the next generation of engineers. But unfortunately, that's the way that it has ended up. The key thing to remember, though, is that predictions don't have to come true. The predictions that Sherwood Rowland made for the decreasing thinning of the ozone layer are not going to come true because we put in place bans on CFCs, we develop new technologies for refrigeration, and we are in a position now where the ozone hole is starting to repair itself, and the slowing and the thinning of the ozone layer in the tropics has slowed. We don't want our predictions to come true, but we're afraid they will. And so I'll just leave you with one more thought. Where we are now, we understand what's going on despite the complexity. But the next chapters in this story, in our climate story, are still being written. And they're being written by the next generation of engineers and policymakers and scientists. And there is no more important problem to be working on. Thank you very much.